What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spread the Positive podcast. I am your host, Trent Denson, founder of Spread the Positive and STP Productions, where our mission is to bring light to what's going right and to showcase and facilitate efforts that are making a positive impact in our local communities and beyond. Be sure to check us out, spreadthepositive.net. And also, if you're looking to get involved with the STP Podcast Network, please reach out and just check out all the amazing shows that are on the network. We continue to grow. We continue to build. Be part of the solution. Be part of what's going right. Welcome to the show. Casey Broach with KK Fitness Training. Casey is a personal trainer on the Faster Way app. She has actually gone through the Faster Way herself. This app has a crazy proven track record of helping people get to their fitness goals quicker with a healthier approach, and it's changing people's lives around the country and around the world. Casey is killing it in this area. She is passionate about helping people. She's done it herself. She believes in it, and she can walk you through this entire process. So be sure to check out at KK Fitness Training on Instagram, and you can reach out to her via email, kkfitnesstraining@gmail.com. Big shout out to you, Casey. Keep killing it. We appreciate your continued support of the 1200 Club here at Spread the Positive. Thank you so much. Last but not least, this episode is brought to you by Pete Adams and Travis Swan over at Adams & Swan. Adams & Swan is your local advertising and digital marketing company that uses a results-driven approach to small and medium business revenue growth. They develop a custom strategy that is specific to your business and create dynamic advertising and digital marketing campaigns that deliver new clients and customers. Check them out at adamsandswan.com. Big shout out to my guys, Pete and Travis. Thank you for the support, guys. Means so much. Can't wait to have you in. Y'all be sure to check them out. adamsandswan.com. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Spread the Positive podcast. I'm your host, as always, Trent Denson. Got a awesome guest today, new friend of mine. Doing some really cool stuff, really trying to do the Lord's work and help some people out in the process. My friend Tony Bradshaw, man, how are you?
Doing well, Trent. Thanks for having me out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the way I like to typically do it is just to kind of give us a foundation who you are, where you come from, what childhood was like, kind of early passions, and we'll take it from there.
Oh my gosh, you're going to open up the whole can of worms.
First question.
Yeah. So a little bit about myself. I grew up here in Nashville, Tennessee. So,
right.
Obviously we're in Murfreesboro right now, but grew up in East Nashville. My dad just sold his house, not my house, his house. He had the house since probably like 1971.
Man,
and so
probably a touch of equity in that thing.
Yeah, he had a little bit. Yeah. I think he paid $14,000.
Wow.
Maybe we'll talk about that in a minute.
And
for that house, sold it for about $300. Probably could have sold. If he just wanted to get out, so he probably could have sold it for about $5, if with upgrades and all that kind of stuff. But
sure.
That's where it was. And then I live in Franklin now with my wife and 6 kids. And we had some problems with our third child in the womb. And, that's the first time I ever fasted in my life. I fasted because I was just like, Lord, what are you going to do with our baby? Heal our baby. And I didn't know what else to do. So I just figured I'd do what David did in the Bible when he fasted. And I said, that's what I can do. I don't have any other control over what's going on. A couple of doctors consulted with us on having an abortion of our daughter.
Damn.
And you want to talk about crazy? God, at a healing service, God told me he was going to heal my daughter.
Wow.
And then we went back to the next ultrasound, and the things that they were concerned about, the measurements had changed from 13 millimeters down to 10 millimeters.
Wow.
Which is well within acceptable range. My wife started telling all of her friends that our baby was healed. And I said, I don't think God's done yet. And I kept waiting. So I waited, prayed a little bit. And about 2 weeks later, we went back for another trip to the ultrasound, and it had gone from 10 millimeters down to 9 millimeters.
Wow.
And she came out perfectly fine. In fact, she's down in Brazil right now.
Wow.
At a spiritual education group with a woman named Heidi Baker, who's more of an international church planner.
Awesome.
And so that's crazy to go from being consulted to aborting your child for possible, birth defects to being healed. And now I think ministry is in her life. She wasn't really college material And she didn't want to go to college. I'm like, baby, don't go to college. You don't need to go to college. God's got another calling on your life. And I pride myself a little bit in being able to pick out people's skills and weaknesses. And so she's down there. This is awesome. And then 20 years old. And then my other one's 2 more daughters and then another son. So I have 6 in total, ages 14 to 25.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, and the last 2 are interesting because we didn't plan on having a 5th and 6th, but God led us into that. And it's an interesting story if I have time to share it later. And then on my journey, man, I was an engineer out of college. I liked math. I liked cars. That sounded like engineering to me. Mm-hmm. And so I went to school at Pensacola Christian College in Florida, finished up there. And then in 1995, I was 25 years old, got my first W-2 out of college and realized I was broke.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, I made a lot of money and I am 16 grand in debt. And that's a bad plan. I need to change a little bit. So I went to Books A Million in Rivergate area and started learning about money. Started, reading books, reading magazines, learning everything I could, because that's something I grew up with, is like a nature to learn different things. And so that's benefited me well. And then ended up at Dave Ramsey's office, working with him back when he was about 30 employees in 2001. And went on a career stretch there of 15 years and then left. As I tell people, I got voted off the island in 2016. It was time for me to go.
That's wild.
And then God brought me back into personal finance, totally unplanned, totally not on my radar, told me to write a book, then said do it in 30 days. And I did that, did a draft. The draft's the easy part. It's the editing that hurts. And then I've got an event and a lot of other stuff we can talk about. That's kind of the big overarching brush of my life. And, what I try to do ever since I was little is I always wanted to proclaim God's glory from the highest mountaintop he would give me to do it. And that's because they raised us singing, "Go Tell It on the Mountain."
There you go.
And that's what I took away from that song. That's where my heart's at today. And and then my parents, it's interesting. A lot of times people who are in wealth, other people look from the outside and they think, oh, those rich people got lucky, or, they were in the right place at the right time, which was not my case. My parents grew up from broken families. They accepted Jesus when I was 6 years old. And my dad went from being an alcoholic, and my mom went from being a broken home family with an alcoholic father that was abusive towards, her mother. A lot of story there. And to being totally redeemed.
Wow.
So Jesus redeemed our family. Wow. And that would have been about 1976. And then about 3 years after that's when I accepted Jesus, and then my life kind of continued on that range. So I give total transformation. I could have grown up in a totally different family if Jesus hadn't stepped in and changed the lives of my mom and dad.
Dang, that was quick but powerful, man. That's incredible. Wow. So, where do you even take that, man? So what now? What has you fired up? You're still in the financial literacy space somewhat, but what else are you working on these days?
It's interesting because I didn't plan on getting back into personal finance, and I didn't really feel worthy to do that. I'm like, who am I to go write a book? I worked for Dave freaking Ramsey. Who am I to go follow in his footsteps? And I knew that there might be a challenge there, right? So, but you got to follow what God called you to do, regardless of what people say or how they think about you. And so I got the book written. Then I launched my podcast in 2020 called Purpose of Wealth. Interesting note I almost left out is, my book came out in November 2018, and I found myself in the hospital in July 2019, just like 7 months after the book launch, 8 months. And I'm sitting in that bed, and I almost died because when they went to take my kidney out, I had a kidney get removed, my right kidney. When they went to take it out, they actually tore my vena cava. I think it's called inferior vena cava, coming up my right leg.
Oh my gosh.
And so they had to actually put a much bigger incision in my body real quick because they had to get me open so they could stop the bleeding. I lost like 2 units of blood in 60 seconds. Totally lost 3 units of blood. And then they had to patch me back up. So I have a nice 13-inch scar that was unplanned.
Wow.
And so as I'm sitting there in the hospital, what should have been a 2-day in and out kind of thing turned into a 15-day deal. Jeez. And I asked the Lord, like, why am I here? Like, you gave me this book. Like, and I think we all go through that self-doubt on what God's doing in our lives. And that's where I found myself. I'm like, I thought you gave me this book, And now I should be out promoting the book in July, not sitting in the hospital.
Sure.
Almost dying. And what the Lord, he just gave me some short words. It was this, all will be made clear. And I was like, all right. I mean, that's what and I just felt it. When the Lord talks to you, you know it's him. Like it's very affirming. It's gentle. Sometimes when you're in trouble, it's polite, but affirm. Just like what you would talk to your children about, if you're like, oh, son, I love you, but you're off the rails,
right.
And that's what I found in my life. But what happened in that moment is I said, all right, just a peace came over me. And I looked at my wife. I said, hey, do we have any of my books in the car? And she said, yeah, we got a few. I'm like, go down there and get a couple cases. And we basically set up a bookshelf in the window of the hospital. And everybody that came in my room got a free book.
Nice.
And we gave away about 100 books over 15 days while we were in the hospital. I had people coming up from the first floor to my 7th floor room because they found out I had this book I was giving away. And janitors, I had radiologists coming in, doctors coming in. It was really affirming to me. He goes, hey, I may not know what's going on right now, but I'm having impact.
Wow.
Even if it's small. And so that was 2019, 2020. The podcast came out 2021. We did our first event called Purpose of Wealth, which is enjoy life, help others, and serve God. And what we do, what's very different about this event, and we're about to have our biggest event in Nashville, Tennessee, Cornerstone Church on Saturday, November 8th. But we're going to bring in a bunch of speakers. But what's different about it is we teach people about money for about 30 to 45 minutes. And then we bring up what I call purpose partners, which in most cases is a nonprofit. And they get to speak from the mic for about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, to highlight the work they're doing and the impact they're doing. And now why is that so powerful? We've done a couple of these events, but they were smaller. Is because when somebody understands why they're getting up and going to work and why they're making money and why they should be building wealth, and they can attach that to a God-given purpose, there is something so freeing about that and so powerful that you can't really quite explain it. Because people are finally going, oh, I'm not just paying my taxes and doing this thing every day. I have a real purpose behind why I do it. Now, for me, what I've learned, and I'm talking a lot here, but on my journey in the spiritual realm for money, is what God's taught me to go through is really, it's like tithing, testing, and purpose. It's like a 3-tier system. And then after that you have dominion. But let's talk about tithing. Tithing is instructed to us to do it in a certain way. And then once you get that right, you kind of move into testing, which is my income went up. And then all of a sudden God kept coming to me and going, hey, knock, knock, knock. I want you to give some money to this thing. And the first big check we wrote, I think it was about $5,000. And then those checks, as my income went up, my checks kept getting bigger. That he would knock on my door. And I believe that was a testing process where he's going, hey, do I have your heart, or does this mammon, this money have your heart? And if at any point, I believe if I would have said no, then probably my growth probably would have stopped at that point.
Oh, wow.
Right. And this is just my experience. Other people teach different things. And then what's happened in the recent years is this concept of purpose, to go, okay, I did the tithing, passed, did the testing, check. Now move into purpose, and that's where the purpose of wealth comes from. And what I found on my show, I've interviewed about 140 people, millionaires. Only about really 5% of those millionaires, I would say, have real purpose behind where their money's going.
Really?
It's a small percentage. It wasn't as big. 5 to 10%, wow. Yeah, somewhere in that range. They're doing good things, but they haven't yet reached what I would call purpose, where you're like, hey, wow. I am here. Crazy. Yeah, I'm here for a reason, to have real impact, to do real things. And people don't understand a lot of the problems that exist in the world. And, like food hunger, for one thing.
Right.
There's enough money in the world to wipe out hunger within 30 days.
Right.
Yeah. 30 days or less.
Why don't we?
Well, you really want to go down that road?
A little greed.
Yeah, that and a little bit more. But anyway, that's kind of what I've got going on, and I just taught last night. I was down teaching some people. Some new concepts, some of this, I feel like it's, God's word, he's putting me and directing me.
Yeah.
But when you live it every day, you start to think differently.
Yeah.
Like last night I was teaching people about this new concept of God, about how you can turn $3,000 into $1 million, in a tax-free. right? So think about that. How powerful is that concept?
That's insane. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, and it sounds almost impossible, right? Until you realize it's already been done.
Yeah.
It's called Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we had a guy at Dave Ramsey's when I worked there, 2012, I think, and he was bringing in Bitcoin and talking to us about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin back then was about $1 to $4.
That's crazy.
But, and Dave dismissed it, but I also dismissed it because I'm like, gosh, and I was just riding the train, and I didn't get into Bitcoin and cryptos until 2017. And now I'm not a big pro because I don't like where crypto goes,
right?
But I understand where it's going.
Sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. So if you understand where it's going as a system, you can leverage that system. Same thing with the stock market. Stock market's a Ponzi scheme, pure and simple Ponzi scheme. So, but you can still use that system to build wealth and real world assets and have an impact for God's kingdom. And the more wise you are about these things, the more impact you can have. The problem is in the churches today, your pastors, most of them, don't have any dominion or understanding about finances. So what happens in people's hearts and minds when they don't understand a topic or have authority over that topic? They can't lead in that topic. They can't vision in that topic. They can't do any of that stuff. You have marriages, marriage issues is another one that I'm dealing with right now. I've got 12 friends that are having major marital issues.
Man, I hate to hear that.
Yeah. But I'm going, why aren't the churches saturating a whole city with marriage conferences and marriage billboards and stuff? We got 10 mega churches in Nashville, $20 million budgets. That's $200 million bucks. And I'm not knocking on all the churches. I'm just going, I feel like, this is going to sound bad, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Go for it.
We got a bunch of pastors that should be acting as generals when they're functioning like lieutenants.
Dang.
And the reason is they don't have authority or dominion or insights, so you cannot lead where you do not have wisdom. So if you don't have financial wisdom, you can't lead in that. Wow. So then the churches don't have authority or wisdom over finances because their pastors don't have wisdom or authority over finances, and they can't lead them in that space. And it's just the way it is, man.
Right.
It's not like I'm not knocking on anybody. It's just the way it is. Now the question, once you understand that awakening, what do you want to do about it as a church body, as a pastor? Like if somebody's listening to this, think about that. Like we don't have to live the way we're choosing to live that way because we don't have wisdom. The Bible says, be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. Most of us as Christians are harmless as doves. We're not really wise. And I would say that about myself too.
Sure.
I'm just starting to get a little smarter about it. But yeah, that's kind of what you asked me all that from a simple question of what do you got going on now?
No, that's incredible, man. Yeah, that's incredible. And then so the big event coming up November 8th, Purpose of Wealth, Cornerstone Church in Nashville.
Yep, North Nashville, just a few miles out of downtown.
Yeah. What can people expect there? How can people get involved? Plug away everything for the event. Yeah,
so interesting story about this event. When I was trying to plan for it, I started planning for it last fall. The other two events, you got to understand, like 50 people each. They were small.
Okay.
So they were basically prototyping, and I got to see the power of what was happening in the room. I'm like, we got something here.
Right.
This is awesome. Like, it's awesome. I even told people, like, oh, it's a good event. And they would correct me and go, no, that wasn't a good event. That was an awesome event.
See?
So I'm like, they're one-upping me in my audience, And so this one, as I was planning for it, I'm thinking, oh, you need to do it bigger. So I started looking at venues like 250 people. I mean, it's 5 times bigger. Let's do it. And I just felt like the Holy Spirit was saying, it's not big enough. It's not big enough. I probably visited 15 venues, hotels, you name it, and looked at hosting a couple others. And I landed at Cornerstone, which, if the Lord fills it up, it can hold 3,700 people.
Wow.
So to go from 50 to that, but this, what God taught me since I left Ramsey's was, I'm going to use these words. You're mine. You've submitted yourself to what I'm doing, and I got this.
Damn.
Yeah, and he didn't say it in those words. I'm giving you those words now, but it was like, hey, this is your season to trust me. And you thought you trusted me before. Now, he did say that to me before. He said, you thought you knew what faith in me was. Now you're really going to learn. That's what was said to me when I left Ramsey's.
Wow.
Spiritually. And I've been on that journey for 10 years.
Call,
yeah,
man.
oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I grew up, I've had pretty much most of my needs met. Last 10 years, I've had to rely on the Lord. I knew, and this is something I learned too, I was very thankful for what I had and what God gave me in my previous life. When I say previous life, I mean but pre 2016. That's previous life. Not like being reanimated or anything.
Sure.
But this season of life, it was about, you thought you knew what faith in me was, now you're really going to learn. And I'm in that daily provision space where it's not like, hey, you got the big picture, whatever. That was my previous life. This one's been next step. And when you have to surrender to that, it's very difficult. But the event, it's we're gonna have, believing. Let me assume.
There you go.
Believing,
Yep.
we're gonna fill this thing up. We're gonna have 20 plus speakers. We're gonna have a money stage. That'll be the main stage. We're gonna have a business stage for business owners. Try to help them. And then we'll have a couple breakout rooms. One of them is a health breakout room. I've got some friends that are coming in to teach us, better ways to live with our health. And then a marriage and relationship room, because I've learned a lot about that. I grew up in a great home, loved family, awesome, very affirmative. But they also came from broken homes.
Yeah.
So I inherited some of the baggage that my parents came up with. Yeah. And I have a much better life than they had, but you don't realize how much of your childhood baggage is still with you as an adult, and it's holding you back. It holds you back in your marriage. The enemy has done an amazing job, Trent, and he's got a system, and it is designed to break down families. And when you look at families falling apart, 50% of marriages end in divorce, first marriages, 60% roughly in second marriages, and 70% of third marriages.
Really?
Yep. So it's an astronomical. So if you can't make your first one work, most people believe the grass is greener on the other side of the fence are going to go, and sometimes it is. Sure. But that's pretty rare.
Right.
Like usually you're statistically losing more. So we're gonna have a marriage breakout room. Hopefully save a few marriages. And then the health thing, I lost several friends and family members from cancer. And since I've left Dave's, I've gotten into the spaces of just learning more and more. And I start finding out things like, most of our foods that we eat have poisons in them. I truly believe that a certain soda pop product, not going to mention it, probably get sued or something, killed my brother-in-law. He's 48 years old, but it had a chemical in it called brominated vegetable oil that's banned in 50 countries worldwide as a carcinogen, but they're putting it in your food. Man. And sucralose, aspartame, a lot of people are drinking diet drinks. All those are artificial sweeteners. They usually come from some byproduct of something that was created. I encourage people to go study the production process of aspartame. It was hidden from us for years. Now you can kind of find it in the public. It's out there. Sucralose, if I remember correctly, was a pesticide product.
No.
And it tasted sweet. No. So they turned it into a artificial sweetener.
Jeez.
And that's it. You will find that a lot of stuff. Another one, this is one that you're going to find a lot of stuff. It used to not be in there, but now it is. They call it a preservative, and it's called a sodium benzoate. So what do you think? So what do you think happens with sodium benzoate, Trent?
I don't know.
All right.
I'm scared.
You drink it, your stomach breaks it down, pulls the sodium out. You're left with benzene, which is a highly carcinogenic, and that's in most of your drinks right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So just being aware of that stuff, and people don't know it, but we're not meant to have two. I think it's like 1 out of 2 men get cancer. I think it's 1 out of 3 women. God didn't design us that way, man. He didn't. He designed us for better than that. But Satan has done a wonderful job of corrupting our families, corrupting our bodies, corrupting our food. And we're going to fight back against it. That's what Purpose of Wealth is, and hopefully move some resources around God's kingdom.
That's beautiful, man. What's going right, man? That's what we talk about here. It's about the positive. That's the mission, bringing light to what's going right. And that's a textbook example, man. I think we've been talking a little bit about some spread the positive involvement. I'm super excited to be involved at any level. This is keeps getting better, man. Like our first talk was really awesome, and now doing this, I'm fired up, man. I think this is going to be really, really powerful. Salute to you for having the faith and the foresight to put it together. And you mentioned Sean Moran's involved. Sean's a big supporter of all things spread the positive, and love Sean. Who are some of the other speakers, and who could people expect to see?
Yeah, there's a couple good. All of them are great.
Right.
So it's a couple good ones.
Yeah.
All of them are great.
All of them.
Yeah, we
20 for
got
20.
somebody you might not normally get a chance to hear, and you need to find good mentors, right? There's a couple things. Whatever you're going to do with your life, you want to think about how do I become what God designed me to be. And unfortunately what happens is people get stuck in a cycle and they keep repeating the same cycle over and go nowhere in their life. So you got to find a mentor, and you got to find what I call a tribe. Right.
Yep.
You want to be in both, right? You're going to become like the people you hang out with. Yep. So in this case, you're going to meet a lot of good people. So you got Ben Reinberg. He's out of California.
Nice.
He's a commercial real estate investor, billionaire. I've been meeting more and more billionaires over the last couple of years. Got a guy named Bill Walsh. I didn't know Bill, but a friend of mine recommended him. So I just met Bill for the first time about a month ago. Very, very impressed by Bill. He's a nonstop machine, just moving. He's into like all kinds of business stuff, opportunity stuff, kind of like I want to say like a jack of all trades, success guy.
Wow.
And so he's got a lot of authority over a lot of different things, a lot of connections. And then let's see who else. A guy named Nick Alfano out of Nashville. I met him, went through one of his conferences. He's got a program for men called The Program.
Yep. Heard of that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, dude. Like I got into it by luck because I didn't even know anything about it. He just stumbled into one of my networking meetings, said, "Hey, I got some free tickets to this thing. Does anybody want it? Because I hate having empty seats." And I'm like, "I'll come."
Yeah, right.
And it about killed me.
Yeah,
but
I've heard it's insane. My buddy Jeff did it.
Being a 55-year-old out of shape guy and what they make you do on that workout.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's
Jeff said the same thing. Shout out to Jeff Suter. Do you know Jeff?
I may know him. Yeah.
He's a mortgage guy, Home Bucks. He's a great guy. He's done a show with us before.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And
Those
then
are some big hitters, man.
Yeah, and on the female side of it, because we're still adding speakers to the list, but I got Dr. Jamie Lee out of Columbia, Tennessee. She's a dear friend. And if you've got health issues, give Jamie a call. Like, she will clean you up. One of the things God did with her, said her dad, the doctors wanted to amputate her dad's legs.
Jeez.
He was overweight and had blood clots all in his legs. And the doctor's like, we can't clean this up. You're probably going to have your legs amputated and be in assisted living the rest of your life.
Dang.
And I think he was about 400 pounds at the time. Don't quote me on the weight.
Sure.
And then the Lord told her, said, hey, food is going to heal your father.
Wow.
And so cutting the story short a little bit, she ended up taking over his diet and told him, said, you're not going to eat anything but what I feed you. And within, I think about 90 days, he had diabetes. His diabetes was mitigated. Within a little bit of time after that, I believe the blood clot self-cleared out, and he walked out of the place.
Wow.
Yep. And and I forget how much weight he lost. And then she had some other family medical issues, and doctors had prescribed medicine for her daughter. She had like some weird thing that happened to her. I won't go into all the details about that. But the medicine they prescribed, they required her to go get an eye scan. And then while Jamie was at the eye scan, the guy doing the scan said, Jamie thought they were just checking for like whatever. And he goes, no, they're establishing a baseline. Because she's like, baseline? Yeah, because this particular med that they're putting her on is going to cause her eyes to bleed. And they just want to see what kind of nature it is right now so they can monitor that progression. And then so Jamie goes, well, you're going to prescribe medicine for my daughter's? Like, I think she was like 16 maybe at the time. Very vibrant young lady.
Yeah.
And she's going to be on this meds the rest of her life with her eyes bleeding? She's like, that doesn't sound right. So Jamie started researching everything, changed her daughter's diet, gave her some different foods, and I won't tell you what sickness she actually had because it was kind of like a really like bad one, and cleared up.
Wow.
Just food changes, healed her up, and so that's what Jamie does. She goes and looks at people. She studies this stuff 24/7.
Jeez.
And so if you got medical issues, you're listening to this podcast, Dr. Jamie Lee, Body and Repair. .com out of Columbia.
Wow.
Highly encourage you to reach out to her. And, there's a whole list. They're all listed on the website, but, about
What's
20
the
speakers
website?
right now. PurposeOfWealth.live. That's LIVE.
Okay, awesome. We'll have that in the show notes. Man, that's awesome. I love this. This is what we need more of, man. That's a beautiful thing. What else? So I know obviously the event's huge. What else are you excited about? What else are you looking forward to?
Yeah, man, I could just go on for days
Right.
on that. But, I'm just excited, and I just encourage people right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. We saw, Charlie Kirk get shot the other day. Terrible thing. sadly, you're probably going to see more of that kind of stuff happening.
Right.
If you're not walking close with Jesus, man, get your eyes on Jesus. Get in a group of people who's got their eyes on Jesus. Get your eyes on Jesus. I was thinking the other day, last few 6 months, I'm thinking, Trent, like we're in these churches, and some churches are better than others, some are good or not. But I said, what's a simple litmus test on your church? And this is what I came up with.
All right.
If you go to church service and your pastor or your church does not talk about Jesus at every church service, at least a little bit, at least a little bit,
Right.
you probably need to look for a better church.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's simple. It's very simple. It's very simple.
You're not wrong.
There are a lot of churches that will teach, and people go to these teaching churches, and they might be there a year, and they never talk about Jesus. And you're at a quote-unquote good church, got thousands of people in the audience.
Yeah.
In some cases, 10, 20, 30,000 people at some of these churches.
Right.
And they don't talk about Jesus at all.
That's wild. Wow.
And that, well, you have to be careful because the enemy is very tricky. He's very seductive.
Yeah.
The music's seductive that we listen to on the radio. Understand this stuff, man. Understand it and get on it. So that would be my big thing. I'm excited about that because I do, I tell people this. Jesus says, I'm the way, I'm the truth, and I'm the life.
Yep.
Right? So what do we see happening right now? Truth. Truth is coming back with a vengeance right now. So, and you see the enemy, and what's the enemy attack? He attacks Jesus, and everything we're living right now is like a lie. And you can feel it as a Christian. You're becoming more aware of it. So, I'm excited because I see, a lot of people are saying, oh, Jesus is returning. I agree with that. I just think it might not be exactly like we think it is. So when you see truth returning, the enemy is getting agitated because so much truth is coming out, social media, and people are becoming more awake and more aware probably than any point in history or in time.
Yeah.
That's what I see happening, and I that's very exciting to me. But you have, Jesus and God's plans are surfacing, but you also have the enemy's plans surfacing in a very aggressive way. Both kingdoms are asserting themselves right now, and you have to make sure you're around a group of people that's following the right king.
Amen.
Right? That's the most important thing I think I could tell anybody right now.
Absolutely. That's a bar right there. Man, that's some good stuff. I'm grateful for this, man. I'm glad we got the chance to do this. Excited to see what else is in store, man. This is some really exciting stuff. Couple of we kind of hit on this already, but I just wanted to get the official answer. What would you say is going right in the world? I know it's tough.
Are you trying to give somebody a sliver of hope?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's kind of what it all comes down to, honestly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
What's going right in the world right now?
Yeah.
Let me see.
I mean, what you're doing, I mean,
I think it's just people. I think there's more people, trying to serve God in a positive way. You're doing it right here. I tell you, I meet people all the time, and they're like, I think God's handing out missions to people left and right now.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people who are going, man, God told me to do this, I'm doing this, and it's very good stuff. And I don't know what it looked like before I got my assignment, because I feel like, when I look at my life and what God's done in my life, it started with my mom and dad accepting Jesus. That changed the trajectory of our family. I got other family members that didn't follow the same route, and it's a dead tree, And it's sad for me, but it's still, it's, there's no fruit. There's no fruit. And then, so I would say that God is starting, it says in the Bible, I forget what verse, you can look it up if you want to, since you're in front of the computer, is you shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And bringing forth your fruit in your season. I think that's how scripture goes. I have to go back and even memorize that one again. And I think that's what's happening right now is God's been planting trees in a lot of people's lives, and they've matured, and then now they're being called forth to bear their fruit. That's what I think is happening.
I love that.
So when you say positive, that's probably the most positive thing I can say, because there's a lot of crap. There's a lot of bad stuff going on.
You're not wrong. That was well said. I agree with that, and I think it's becoming more and more prevalent, and people are leaning into that, right? Like I know me personally, like that's something that I can say with 100% confidence, and I've said it on the podcast a bunch of times. There's a direct correlation with like how close I am to God and how my life is going.
That's true, man.
And trying to, honor assignments, honor his will, like his call versus, what I think or what I'm planning or what I'm wishing for. So it is a really crazy time, but I think it's also it's a great opportunity to really live your purpose of wealth, purpose of health, purpose of the kingdom, all that, man. It's a powerful time. It's a powerful time to be, on the right side for sure.
Yeah. And I would say, like, more than ever, like, if you can really understand you got an enemy.
Yeah.
You and I are in here talking about Jesus, and we're trying to do what God's plans are. There's a whole other group of people out there, man. And they're not little minions living in a cave, dude. They're very powerful people.
Yep.
And they don't worship the same God we worship. And they're not doing so. When you look at the world today and you go, I think, so when you look at the world and the stuff that's messed up with it, and I grew up with this, right? So I went to Christian school, Christian college. It gets explained away like this. Oh, it's because of the fallen state of man, the sin of man.
Yep.
And that is true.
Yep.
But you have to go a little deeper. And you go, it's because of that fallen state of man and the men who serve a false god. Because they are doing that. And they are very strategic. They're very powerful. They shape the world. And a lot of pastors don't like to hear that because they want to say God's power, God this. That's true. But God gave dominion of this earth over to mankind, to Adam. And then Adam surrendered it through sin to another, monarchy, if you want to say.
Sure.
And and you can go to, and a lot of pastors are going to disagree with that. They don't want to say that, whatever. But that's really what's happened, is that man gave his authority over that God had given him, and then it's somewhat up to us. And I believe Jesus was a reassertation of that authority. That's why he had to come as a perfect man and perfect God, because he was reestablishing the authority that Adam had given up, right? Right?
There you go.
So, but we don't understand the authority that we have that God has given us on this planet in his name. Like, we don't.
Yeah.
And it comes through lies and deceit and all the stuff. So when the truth surfaces, as I believe is happening right now, we are learning some to, how to wield God's authority to a certain extent. And I think that's what's happening in the spiritual realm, and then that spiritual realm is getting manifest in the physical. So my thing would be, like, men need to rise up, because we got attacked first. Pornography, about issues of pornography, but we don't understand that pornography is a tool that Satan created and his minions created just to separate us from God. Yeah. And when you do that. So that's I think there's an awakening of men happening right now, and women. Yeah. It's not just men. Women have held the fort down in a lot of ways, but they've been attacked too through different methodologies. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I think those are the good things that are happening. Some of the good things. There's a lot more, but
Sure. That's beautiful. Well, Tony, man, tell people where they can find you. I know you plugged the pod a little. Plug the pod, website, event, everything one more time for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you just want to talk to me, I'll be glad to talk to anybody. My goal right now is just to help whoever needs help. It's TonyBradshaw.com. You can find everything I do at TonyBradshaw.com. You can get to the Purpose of Wealth event, some of the other things we're doing. And then if you want to go get tickets, check out the events, just PurposeOfWealth.live, PurposeOfWealth.live.
Gotcha, man. I love it. One thing always, the final question I always ask, something we call the grateful for. 4 things you're most grateful for right now. What would you say?
Oh my gosh. I got 6 kids, so I think you need to give me my grateful 7, because I got my wife first.
We'll call family.
Yeah, family's just one.
Sure, but that's a big one, man. I get that.
Yeah, I'll say family because my wife's amazing. Stuck with me through my mistakes, bad decisions I made, and still supports me.
Shout out to her.
Amazing, yeah. Shout out to her because she's a trooper.
That's awesome.
And so she's number 1. I think number 2 is just how faithful God and how gentle and guiding He is. I think as a dad, it's helped me understand God more, and how he looks at us. He don't want to spank us, but sometimes he has to spank us.
Sure.
And, and that's good, but it's merciful and gentle. It's not shaming. It's not guilt. But just understanding that principle, because I think a lot of times as humans, we're very ashamed of things we've done or carry guilt throughout our lives. That's not God's intent. That's a satanic thing, to carry guilt and shame, because it paralyzes you. It damages who God's designed you to be. It keeps you from reaching your potential. So I think that just understanding a deeper understanding of God. You said 3, right?
4.
4? Oh my gosh,
4.
brother. Let's see. I would say living in this country.
Okay.
I was at a business conference this morning with a guy named Wes Holmes called Kingdom Business Global, and he lives in Australia. He's telling us how awesome our country is. He says, "Don't listen to the lies." He's like, "There is no other country in the world whose foundation was based on God."
Amen.
That the founding fathers wrote your freedoms and wrote your freedom to talk about God into your Constitution. Not another country in the world that has that.
Amen.
And so be thankful for that, even though we see what's going on. It's just the enemy is threatened by the USA. It's threatened by us knowing the truth, and that's why it has to act the way it does. So that's 3.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Hey man, it's fall, brother. It's my favorite season.
Okay.
I love the fall.
Me too.
Something clicks for me in the fall. So where Tennessee falls are beautiful.
They are, man. Well, man, Tony, I appreciate the time. I appreciate connecting and wanting to collaborate. That's what we're all about over here. It's about the positive. Shout out to Sean again for the introduction, and Sean Moran with Red Barn Financial, awesome faith-based financial advisor. Heck of a guy, such a good guy. But yeah, Tony, thank you, man. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for your foresight, for the faith you have in bringing this event together. And I'm excited, man. So November 8th, get your tickets. We'll have that in the show notes and everything. And yeah, man, excited to see what's next. Thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, Trent, thank you.
All right, we'll wrap this one up. See you next time, y'all.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Spread the Positive podcast. For more information about all the things we got going here at Spread the Positive, please check us out, spreadthepositive.net. Get involved with our underwriting, advertising, sponsorship program, start a podcast, or if you just want to support the mission, reach out on spreadthepositive.net or any of our social media handles at Spread the Positive. Look forward to connecting with y'all and giving y'all another fire episode on the next one. Thank you, and we will see you then. Let's go.
Are your books in order? Do you know your actual net profit versus gross profit? Is your cost of goods sold accurate? If those questions just made you nervous, you need to reach out to Michael Gant with Booker Do It. Michael is a certified QuickBooks online payroll and advanced pro advisor specializing in cleanups and regular bookkeeping services. He can help you streamline your finances, clean up your QuickBooks, and ensure you are accurate and up to date. The consultation is free and the peace of mind is priceless. Huge shout out to Michael for his support of the STP 1200 Club. We are so grateful for your support. Be sure to check out bookerdoit.com for more information.